And so do the Lindberghs, and the crime of the century. The year is 1932, and the first solo flyer of the Atlantic is at the peak of his fame. Together, he and his wife, Anne Morrow Lindbergh, continue to blaze the trail of their beloved aviation. But flying is not the ultimate, for their aim is to raise a family. In 1932, a baby is on the way. The Lindberghs already have a son, star of every home movie they shoot. But alas, their happiness in their heir is not destined to endure. An open window, a ladder, and the Lindbergh boy is gone. A police force, overwhelmed by the enormity of the crime and the attention it attracts, stumbles forward and does its best. But its best doesn't produce the Lindbergh baby. One of the greatest and most extensive searches in history combs the area around the Lindbergh home. The simple, wood-built house becomes the center of the world. Fame is guaranteed by ordering a coffee in Hopewell, New Jersey. All who deal in the written or spoken word communicate with everywhere from Hopewell. The latest goes out from coast to coast.
Hello, everybody. We're speaking to you now from the general store in Hopewell, New Jersey, the improvised press headquarters during the Lindbergh case. We have here a flash which reads as follows. If the kidnappers of our child are unwilling to deal directly, we fully authorize Salvi Spitali and Irving Bitts to act as our go-betweens. We will also follow any other method suggested by the kidnappers that we can be sure will bring the return of our child. This message is signed Charles A. and Anne Lindbergh.
In crowded Hopewell, the press clusters around Dr. Condon, known as Japsy, the man who has somehow infiltrated so far as to be throwing ransom money over cemetery walls to a character known to Japsy as John. Then, amid all the frustrations of the search, from jail comes the honey-sweet voice of reason. Let me out of this, says Al Capone, and the baby will be recovered. Trust honest Al. But the state, jealous of its possession of such a distinguished guest, refused to talk business.
Those interested in law enforcement throughout this nation are assured that this particular menace to society will never be liberated until he shall have served the sentence of imprisonment which has been imposed upon him.
Each week saw Lindbergh off on searches or to help put frauds behind bars. A Mrs. McLean of Washington had been under stress to pawn the famous Hope diamond so that a certain Mr. Means might recover the child with the money. But all Mr. Means got was a long stretch. As the days pass for restless America, the unsolved case slips into that thing in the papers that's been there for so long. The public, lacking the patience of the law, becomes a mite tired of the affair. So that when 2 months later news filters through to the gay spots that in the darkness not more than 5 miles from Hopewell, men have found the body of the Lindbergh baby. Well, the horror and shock is somewhat dispelled by ordering another drink and another song. Besides, the public has other attractions, like Dillinger, A Chase of Chases. Escaping from Crown Point, he was trapped in St. Paul by police. Shooting his way out, Dillinger streaks back to Chicago, then to Warsaw, where he robbed the police station of guns, then to his home in Mooresville. Then he headed north to Sault Ste. Marie. Beset by the law again, Eagle River, to Mercer, on to St. Paul in another gun battle. Last seen toward Chicago. Such was Dillinger. Yet all the while, the world changes. Hoover has stepped down, and now Roosevelt is around to sign, among other documents, a bill permitting the sale of beer and wines. The final sting of gangsterdom is drawn with the end of Prohibition. In New York, the governor receives a present.
Governor Smith, Mr. Myer.
Stand on your governor.
All right. Fella, great land It's my privilege to deliver to you, with a compliment to Anheuser-Busch, the first case of Budweiser beer to be delivered in the state of New York. Happy days are here again.
Amid all the rejoicing, there is still voices raised in protest. One of the loudest among them, that of Billy Sunday, hot gospeler and self-styled reformer.
I'll fight the saloon from Hawaii to Hoboken. I'll kick it as long as I have a foot. I'll punch it as long as I have a fist. I'll butt it as long as I have a head. I'll bite it as long as I have a tooth. And when I'm old and fistless and footless and toothless, I'll gum it till I go home to heaven and it goes home, my friend, to hell.